Hello and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Night FIFA. And in the spirit of doing the FA Cup predictions, I did say I was going to do UEFA Champions League final predictions. So here we are, the end of the season climax right before the World Cup kicks in. We are here in the biggest match in club football. End of story, end of discussion. Right, so in this year's Champions League final, it is, excuse me, I've had a bit of a bad throat, so I'm a bit more raspy than usual. Anyway, so in this year's Champions League final, we have Arsenal, who have made it all the way to the final through dominating all the way through the league phase and, making it all the way to the final. They beat Sporting, they beat Atletico Madrid. Damn, good teams. And they are going up against the reigning, defending, undisputed European champions, Paris Saint-Germain. Let's try that again. The reigning, defending, undisputed European champions, Paris Saint-Germain. Yes. So PSG. Now keep in mind, this is actually before PSG became super rich. Just like Man City, Chelsea, a few other teams. So they're not going to have the same teams as the same style of team that they actually would have before they became super rich and started buying players like Neymar, Mbappe, Messi, Ibrahimovic, Cavani, Donnarumma, players like that, Anyway, so we're going to try and speed this along. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly have a look at the starting lineups. So let's go. First, we're going to have a look at Arsenal. What team did they have all the way back in the 2006-2007 season? So, this is also Arsenal's first Champions League final since 2006. So, the team should be very, very similar to that very team that went all the way to the Champions League final in 2006. Yep, 2006. And sadly lost. So this is their first final in 20 years. Anyway, so they got Jens Lehmann, Abue, Kolo Touré, Philippe Senderos, Ashley Cole, Alexander Hleb, Cesc Fabregas, Gilberto Silva, Freddie Ljungberg, Emmanuel Adebayor, and Thierry Henry. Let's have a look at the rest of the team just for fun. So they also have Laurent Thomas Rosicky, Matthew Flamini, Robin Van Persie, Theo Walcott, Almunia, Poom, Pascal Sigon, Gael Clichy, Justin Hoyt, Johan Giroud, Abu Diaby, Jeremy Aliadier, and Jose Antonio Reyes. Now let's have a look at Paris Saint-Germain. What team were they throwing out all the way back in the year of our Lord 2006-2007 season? Anyway, let's have a look. Right, so they had Landry, Mendy, Rosenal, Yepes, Armand, Frau, Cisse, Durasso, Rothen, Kalou, Paoletta, Alonso, Traore, Paulo Cesar, Helboik, Pankrat, Cousin, Atiba Balai, Drame, Chantame, Rodriguez, Banning, Mbame, Diane, and Ngog. So that is the Paris Saint-Germain team. Very, very, very different from the team that they have today with star players like Neves, Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, Dembele, Yeah, just some real big players, whilst this, like I said, this is before PSG became a dominant force in the world of football. So, but yeah, that's what it is, that's life, that's what all the people say. Anyway, so we're going to use FIFA 2007 to predict who is going to win the UEFA Champions League in the year of our Lord 2026, all the way out in Budapest. So let's get to kick-off. Right, here we go. This actually looks more like the new Emirates Stadium, which did open in 2006-07, I think. Yeah, because in 2005-06 season, they wore the burgundy shirt as a homage to when Arsenal first moved to Highbury, or when the team was first formed, one of the two. Can't remember which. But yeah, so even though we've got Arsenal stuff all over the place in the stadium, and it's quite blatantly the Emirates, we're going to say that this is Budapest, you know, the Puskás Arena. Right, here we go. Who's going to walk out on top of this? So Arsenal getting the kick-off, here we go. I mean, it's not to say that PSG haven't been impressive this season as well. That semi-final against Bayern Munich, leg one, what an absolute banger that was. And tons of fans all over the place are just saying that should have been the final. And you know what? I kind of agree with them. Because that was just such an amazing final. It really, really was. It was just so friggin' good. 5-4 goals all over the place. You know, both teams just going for it, with PSG just edging their way through to the final. You know? And you gotta admit, I mean, like, come on, people. I know everybody wants to see, you know, the English team succeed. Or, you know, there's a lot of football fans out there that don't want to see Arsenal succeed. You know, either way, you know, we all got to admit that PSG are the favourites. They are the favourites to win the Champions League, you know, and retain their title. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, they'd be the first team, if I remember correctly, close. Very close. If I'm not mistaken, I actually think they'd be the first team to retain the Champions League since Real Madrid, when they won the Champions League. I think it was like 3 years on a bounce. I'm going to have to try and use my knowledge on that, because, yeah, just going to have to give it a bit of a think, you know, because I can't remember who won it in 2024. That's the issue. So no, PSG won it, City won it in 2023, 2022, can't really remember. 2021 was Chelsea, 2020 was Bayern Munich, who else? Then 2019 was Liverpool, and then yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was Real Madrid, like, when they won it 3 years on the bounce, I think. You know. But anyway, will PSG become the first team to retain the Champions League in that period of time? Personally, I think they will. As much as, you know, people have been like, oh, you know, Arsenal this, Arsenal that, the Premier League, etc., etc. You know, it would be nice for an English team, a new English team anyway, to win the Champions League. But if PSG go on and win it, then fair play to them, you know. They were, like I said, absolutely remarkable in the league phase. Plus, didn't they knock out Barcelona in the quarterfinals? I think they did. Or was that... No, Atletico Madrid knocked out Barcelona. Yeah, Atletico Madrid knocked out Barcelona. I can't remember who PSG knocked out, but I know that they absolutely decimated both Chelsea and Liverpool. And that wasn't exactly a good shot. At the moment, I mean, like, from what I've been seeing, it's like PSG struggling to get up into the final third, you know, create anything out of no, whilst Arsenal, not necessarily dominating, but, you know, holding firm, holding strong, etc. You know, this was an Arsenal team who, like I said, was just coming off the back of defeat in the Champions League final in 2006, losing 2-1. Who got sent off that day? I can't remember. There was one player who got sent off, but I can't remember who. Either way, you know, it is their first Champions League final, and you know, this is an Arsenal team, the 2006-7 team anyway, who are just looped it over. No challenge from the defender, no nothing. Alexander Club gets the first goal. Is this a sign for things to come? Just looped it over the keeper. Well done, mate. Oops. Top wins as well. Nicely done. Nicely done, sir. it's good to see that the replays don't do what they did, I think, with FIFA 2004, where like, you know, they'd be focusing on the goal, and then all of a sudden it would be like sharp camera turn to, you know, the opposite goal. It's like, yeah, I've always wanted to see the goalkeeper celebrate. But yeah, this was the beginning. Ooh. PSG's first proper attempt. Not on target. But yeah, this would have been the beginning of Arsenal. Well, actually, no, the second year that Arsenal failed to win a trophy, 2006-07, since they won the FA Cup in 2005. But yeah, like this Arsenal team would have been reeling, and you know, to then go how many years? 9 years, I think it was, without a trophy. So they won the FA Cup in 2014. Who did they beat? Was it Villa or was it Hull? I forget which order it went in. Was it Villa or Hull? No, it was Hull City first, then it was Villa, then yeah. Cool. I remember. Right, half time. It's 1-0. Fled with the opening goal. I just felt like getting straight into the second half, you know, no talking in the middle. Like I said, keep it nice and speedy. But yeah, so this could be only Arteta's second, technically third if, you know, you include the Community Shield, Charity Shield. Ooh, nearly through a goal. You know, because Arteta won the FA Cup within his first 6 months. I think that was during the COVID season as well. Which one was it? Yeah, it was 2020, just when COVID started. That's when Arteta won his first trophy, then he won the Charity Shield, or Community Shield, whatever you want to call it. And ever since then has an amazing record in finishing second or getting knocked out in the semi-finals, you know. You know what they say, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. You know. But as I record this, the Premier League title has not been settled, so my remark there may still be true. It might not by the time that it's released, but, you know, we shall see within the next, you know, couple of matches, just like we'll see what happens in the Champions League final, you know. And also, I'm not sure if people are aware of this. This is actually just a blanket statement regarding European competition. So this season, right, is the first season ever that 3 English teams have reached 3 separate European finals, right? Arsenal in the Champions League, Aston Villa in Europa League, and Crystal Palace in the Conference League. 3 English teams, 3 European finals in the same season. That has never been done before. When the European Cup Winners' Cup, people my age will remember that trophy, was a thing up until about 99-2000. Oh, nicely done, 2-0. Who got that? Oh, fabulous. But yeah, what was I saying? When the European Cup Winners' Cup was a thing back in those days, up until 99-2000, 3 English teams never did it. Never got to, you know, 3 separate European finals in the same season. Even when the Conference League was introduced, that was a good pass actually. When the Conference League was introduced in 2022, despite having 2 English teams win it in West Ham and Chelsea, 3 English, well, they've, you know, it's just never been done. So there you go, neat little fact. And here we go, 2-0 Arsenal. You know, putting the pressure on PSG, but as I said before, this is before PSG became certified billionaires and basically the only team capable of winning anything in France, you know? I mean, how many Ligue 1s have they won in a row now since they became certified billionaires? So I think they became like uber rich it was either just before or just after the turn of the 2020. Ever since then, yeah, they've pretty much just dominated French football, and it's like, oh my god, when will another team win it? You know, occasionally you get the odd team pop up and win the Coupe de France or whatever, but yeah, it's just a bit boring over in France. The only team out there capable of winning anything. I mean, you can say, yes, there's Marseille, there's Lyon, there's Lille, there's Nice, there's this, there's that, there's Marseille. Oh, Thomas Rosicki's coming on for Gilberto Silva. But yeah, you know, you can say, oh yeah, there's all of these other French teams out there. But at the same time, it's like, but are they actually capable of dethroning? Whoop, nearly had it. Are they capable of dethroning PSG at the moment? Not really. Not with Luis Enrique at the helm for them, because I'll be quite frank. I mean, like, PSG had the ultimate attack force. They had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe as their front three for, you know, a good few years. Okay, they won the French league a few times, but never went ahead and won the Champions League. It's only really taken getting rid of all three of them, completely reshuffling and bringing in a completely different mentality through Luis Enrique for them to actually achieve this, you know, huge feat. You know, first of all, winning the Champions League in 2025, and then to reach the second final on the bounce. Oh wait, yeah, who did they lose to in the final? Was it 2020 that they lost to Bayern Munich? I think it was. So yeah, you know, they've been to a few Champions League finals since they became rich. But yeah, my question still stands. You know, who's capable of dethroning PSG in France? Who's at the moment capable of matching them? I mean, we can only hope that Arsenal, you know, English team, goes the distance, wins it. It would be amazing, absolutely amazing if a trifecta of English teams won all three European competitions. That would be amazing, especially for me as a Crystal Palace fan. You know, be great. Right, cool. Looks like this is going to be the end. Oh, is he through on goal? He is. Wasn't flagged. Should have put it in the middle, but decided to go for a quick pop. Right, there we go. That's full time. There we have it, folks. FIFA 2007 has spoken. Arsenal are going to win the Champions League. You know, like I said, for me personally, you know, as an Englishman, I may be a Crystal Palace fan, but it's like, okay, I've given Arsenal a lot of stick, a lot of shit throughout, you know, the course of the season and everything like that, through tactics, through this, through that, whatever, you know. But I do wish them all the best in Budapest, and I hope they do win it, you know. That's from one point of view. But, you know, from a realistic point of view, I'm going to say that PSG are going to win it. That's what I think, you know. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans will be like, what? You know, we're totally going to win. You know, it's like, guys, you are arguably up against the best team in the world, right? Give it a good go, show them some welly, and I'm sure you'll be all right, you know. But yeah, FIFA 2007 has spoken. It said Arsenal are going to win it. Now, in regards to the Europa League, it is Aston Villa versus Freiburg from Germany. Now, that seems like a bit of a, you know, it's definitely an interesting final, isn't it? You know, that's the glory of like the new way of the league phases, how European competition has been structured, because there's no demotion from Champions League to Europa League or Europa League to Conference League. You know, there's nothing like that anymore. You know, if you get knocked out in the groups or whatever, you know, so now it's producing like more interesting finals and matchups, shall we say. But, you know, where's that being held? Oh yeah, Turkey, Istanbul. Personally, I think Aston Villa are going to win it. You know, I think Villa will win the Europa League. And, you know, it'll be great for them and their fans. I think it'll be their first trophy since, I want to say 2000 or I know definitely they won the League Cup in 96, but I want to say 2000. I'm not 100% sure. And then finally with the Conference League, it's Crystal Palace versus Rayo Vallecano. I mean, Palace's first European competition. I mean, it had its roadblocks and everything like that, but hey, we made the final. We got there. Dominant displays against Fiorentina, Shakhtar Donetsk. Squeaking through Larnaca. I never want to see that team again. It's been one hell of a journey, let's just say, And in Leipzig, Germany, and you know what? So just so this doesn't bite me in the ass or anything like that, I'm going to keep this opinion to myself. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. But as I said, I hope it is a trifecta of English teams winning all the European competitions. But yeah, and that brings me to the end of this episode of Wednesday Night FIFA. So, thank you very much for joining me on this episode predicting who's going to win the Champions League this season on FIFA 2007. As always, if you liked the video, give it a like, share the video as well, because the more shares, the more views, the more that the channel continues to grow, and the more that I get to do this for you. Subscribe to Well-1 Entertainment if this is your first time on the channel. Don't forget to check out all of the other content that's currently available, because you never know, there might be something that you like. And if you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you are notified about any and all content that goes live onto the channel. So now I'm going to be taking a small break. I think I have a small break. I can't remember my schedule, to be quite frank. But, the World Cup in North America, USA, Canada, and Mexico is coming up, which means I'm going to be getting started my full playthrough of the World Cup on FIFA 98, FIFA Road to World Cup 98, where I'm going to be the USA, and I'm going to see if I can go all the way and lift that trophy. Anyway, so join us for when that gets started. I can't remember if it's within a week, within 2 weeks. I just can't remember. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time for some more FIFA football action. Take it easy, everyone.